Hello, everyone, and welcome to the wrap up for the 5th of June 2020. Again, if you're new here, this particular series is a swing trading strategy that I came up with that I do on top of a bunch of other different strategies that I trade, in where I take Trade Ideas Backtester, run a back test on some algos that I've built within their system, try to figure out which ones are working best in this market environment, narrow those down into a list of a handful of stocks, have those auto-traded using Trade Ideas Auto Trader for me throughout the week, and then I close them down on Friday and continue on as things go. So if you're interested in the software that I use to do this, the link is in the description below, along with the discount code. Please note that that helps out the channel, so I certainly appreciate when you guys do that. This week was another kind of slow grind up here in the markets. Ever since this crazy volatile time, we've been kind of back to this slow kind of grind up every day. A lot of people I see, bears especially, getting super frustrated. I think that's probably why it's climbing the way it is. Just ignore the news. Note that it's super common for traders to look at the news and say, okay, everything's bad. I think the market needs to go down. And obviously not the way that this works. So ignore the news in the fact of what you're going to do when it comes to your trading, but pay attention to the news so that if bad news happens and the market goes higher, then it's probably more of a chance that the market will go higher. It's an old trading adage, but it's worked as long as I've been trading, that if the market sells off on good news, then be careful. If the market rallies on bad news, then also be careful. So last week, something interesting to note here. So this number, I usually circle this and tell you this was the profit for this week. It was more in the neighborhood of $13 a share. And the main reason for that is A, some of these are moving around after hours, but B, APY. And let me explain this to you a little bit differently. Here's the chart so far, and I just attached this last period, 13, again, dollars per share. So what we do is take a look at APY. So APY triggered in through here, but then it actually kind of gave me a bit of a heart attack in the one morning, but it's actually merged and kind of changed its name to CHK. So our entry price here of 9.34, and then it stopped at 10.34. That's not really right because it continued on with this symbol, and we got another little bit out of it there. So, after all the math is done and run and everything, again, this is the profit for this week. Again, about $13 per share, $1,300 for 100 shares. And then again, these lines are 100, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the other trades we took is ACAD, which was just this kind of slow grind down. Really nothing to write home about, but a win's a win. And HHC, which we got a nice strong push up through, and then this continuation. Obviously would have been better if I could have closed it in the morning here and it sold off all day, basically almost closing the gap entirely, but that is the rules of this particular system, so I'm going to stick with them. So for this week, we are watching from the short side, AZN. You could call this kind of right here a inverse head and shoulders after this kind of long run up. Again, all of these come from optimized scans, so I've got a decent idea of the statistics in my head before I get started. CTLT, same type of move you can see on both of these, where you could call this a bit of a head and shoulders like that, but basically looking for things that are running out of steam quicker than the market's looking to run out of steam. And on the long side, we're looking at PGNY. We had a gap up here, came back to fill the gap, and then looks like it's going to push higher. And then BILL, same type of thing except without the gap. We had this prior resistance here. We broke out of it. It came support. Then we bounced up, and it looks like we might be putting in a little higher low with a hammer candle and a hammer candle here, showing some short-term strength. So I think if this gets going, we have an 18% short float on this one, so that one is interesting as well. All right, guys, that is what I'm watching for this week. Reminder, there is the Back to Basics that comes out twice a week that I'm helping teach my fiance how to trade, and some more live trading is going to occur. I just need to wait for the positions that I have open to close. Okay, guys, till I talk to you next time, trade safe.